Almost every racing game or mascot kart racer has power-ups or items in the game, so that way you can get an edge over the competition. So today, I thought it would be appropriate to talk about the items in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. Hello everyone, I'm OCDsaster, and this is OCDsaster Blue, my Sonic exclusive channel where all we do is talk about Sonic. So if that sounds like something your speed, consider checking out some other videos after this one and subscribing. The purpose of items and power-ups in racing games is to provide a balance mechanic for especially the online races as you play, but also the split-screen multiplayer as well. It gives players who aren't as knowledgeable with the mechanics of a racing game to have a chance to win, increasing the odds, if you will. If they're not very familiar with drifting, or how to do tricks properly, maybe timing boosts. Those are core mechanics in the racing game, where power-ups can provide an aid or a tool to help them where they are lacking. The only downside to this is those who are good with the mechanics of a racing game and are also very knowledgeable of the power-ups and items in racing games will combine those to do some crazy outlandish things to just annihilate the competition. It gets so crazy that some skilled racing players will purposely stay back in a race and purposely not be in first, so they have a higher chance of getting a more powerful item to use and then hold off on using it until the exact timing strategically necessary to launch them into first place. I'm sure many of you have seen videos of people playing racing games, specifically like Mario Kart, in which they try to challenge themselves to stay in last place for the first 2 laps to see how fast they can get the first place on the final lap. That's how much detail and strategic, prowess people have for these games. And that's not what we're going to be talking about in this video. I don't know a lot about those strategies. I am going to be talking more from a casual perspective on the items in Sonic Racing CrossWorld, kind of tell you what each one does, and my overall ranking on if they are great, if they're overpowered, if they're underpowered, if they're obnoxious, and then we can have further conversations down in the comment section. The only order I'm doing with this is based off of the wiki. I'm going to kind of read off the item, tell you my description of what that item does, any tricks that I might have for it, and then whether or not I think it is OP in a casual sense. Think of, the infamous Mario Kart clips where people are like in first and they get hit by like 8 items in a row and then get into last place. I know I'm using Mario Kart a lot as an example, but it's the most general way to describe these things. And I think there's been a lot of discussions within the Sonic Racing CrossWorlds community that you will be in first place and dominating the course just for at the very literal last second of crossing the finish line, getting completely dogged. As I've stated, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds has items that you use to get through the race. These items come in item containers and can vary by category. They can be a Wisp type item, which are the creatures in the hit game Sonic Colors that give you a bunch of transformational abilities. You have attack items, you have defense items, and then you also have special items that allow you to do stuff such as warping. Starting with the boost wisps, if you get a singular blue wisp, then that means you have a singular boost. 2 means you have a double boost, and then 3 is the triple boost. I personally like the triple boost because the third of the wisps has a crown on its head. These are your standard fare of just allowing you to go through rougher terrains that slow you down or to cut in front of people. They're quite harmless and probably the most standard of the items in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. Next, we have the Laser Wisp. This is an extremely powerful item in which, once activated, you actually get to zigzag and skip the line. Yes, if you are far enough back in the race, using this item will actually teleport you in front of other racers, and it is quite helpful in a pinch. So much so that I'm going to explain this item in a little bit, but when the King Boom Boo comes after you, you can actually use this item timed correctly to dodge his attacks. Next we have the Drill Wisp item. This is also a very powerful type of ability in which you transform into a giant drill and plow forward, knocking out the competition in front of you. It is automated and you do skip up quite a few places if everyone is lumped together. So with that being said, for the wisps, I would have to say that the drill wisp is probably the most OP, especially if you purposely stay back to get it. Then the laser wisp is also quite busted in the sense that if you hold on to it, you're able to teleport forward and even dodge other really powerful items. And then you have the boost wisps, which are just perfect the way they are. Warp rings will allow you to teleport further up in the line. It's kind of similar to the laser wisp, but you don't zigzag. There's no cool animation with it. You kind of just swap out with another racer, and it can be helpful, but I really don't get this one often. I think you really have to set it as one of your gadgets in order to see it appear. You guys will have to let me know more about that in the comments. Next is Monster Truck. I've been seeing so many funny things on Twitter about the Monster Truck build, because for those of you that are unaware, when you have a gadget or setup before your race, you can actually have some items already at the start of the race, and everyone gets so mad at the person that has the Monster Truck and then just mows everyone down at the start of the race. It's quite obnoxious, but quite funny if you're the person doing it. But Monster Truck does just that. For a brief period of time, your character moves in a monster truck, which is defensed and also attack at the same time. You can't get hit with multiple items, and also you can just run over people and just secure your spot further up in the race. It's very powerful. I like it and hate it at the same time, so that's how you know it is a good item in this game. The one thing that irritates me with this item is it changes the music of the track when you activate it and does the main theme for Sonic Racing every single time, and that gets a little bit annoying after a while. Omochao, for the first time in any Sonic game, isn't annoying and actually is quite helpful. They did change the voice, which is a little bit interesting. It's not as robotic or as higher pitched, which, I mean, it's bittersweet because at this point we're just so conditioned to it, right? But Omochao will give you a bunch of rings while you're racing, and rings are important in this because they will help you accelerate and go faster. So it's overall just a very decent item to. Next are the punching items. You have the homing punch, the triple homing punch, the rocket punch, and the triple rocket punch. Rocket punch is a singular green boxing glove that you can line up and send forward or backward at your targets, and they will get hit. It also will ricochet off of walls if you do not hit a target, so it is very useful for stopping people in front and behind you. Whereas the homing punch is a red boxing glove that will actually heat sink to whoever you locked onto, so it's a little bit more powerful in that regard. And then you have the triple rocket punch and the triple homing punch, which is, of course, the three versions of these punching or boxing gloves that you can send out to wreak havoc on your foes. These are just your standard attack items, and I really see them as very balanced for the game, and there's different ways you can defend yourself against them so they're not too overpowered. Slicer is one of the most powerful items you can possess, as it cuts your opponent's vehicle in half. Yes, that's right, it will cut your opponent's car or extreme gear in two, also halving their speed, meaning that they will come to an almost complete halt and it ruins all of their momentum. And unless they have good acceleration stats, it'll take them a while to start back up after the back of their vehicle spawns back in. So yeah, Slicer is definitely OP, and it can really stop your opponents in a pinch. Next we have Bomb. It's literally a bomb that you can throw forward or behind you. It rolls and then blows up. However, if you hold on to it for too long, it will actually blow up on yourself, so be mindful of that. That is the Bomb. King Boom Boo, such a fun thing to say, is essentially the blue shell of Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. It will fly forward to the person in first place and then unleash a devastating blue tornado attack that'll actually come out and hit other racers in its path, and it will telegraph its path so you can see where you need to move out of the way so it doesn't hit you. This is a brutal item that will stop whoever's in first place unless they have a specific item or strat to defend them against it. As I mentioned before, you can have the laser wisp that will cut through it. There's also an item we haven't gotten to yet that will shield you from this attack. I wonder what item that would be. Next we have Slime. I believe this is a reference to the Nickelodeon characters that we will be getting as third-party DLC for the game. I could be wrong, but it's green, it splatters on your screen. You actually have to wiggle your control around, whether you're on PC, maybe it's your mouse, I'm not quite sure how that works, but if you're using a controller, you have to use the analog stick, circle, you gotta just keep moving it around, and then it will get off your screen, and it's just to kind of, block your vision and slow you down slightly. From there we have Weight. I don't like Weight. A giant weight will just teleport above you and drop down on your head, and it flattens you and puts you at a halt for a few seconds. The only way to really combat against this is if you have a shield item, which we haven't gotten to yet, or if you have a boost item, you can actually boost away before it comes down to save yourself. After Weight is Dark Chow. Dark Chow basically will just randomize and steal items and just throw them into your slots. So it's not really a bad item, it's just more of a chaotic item that you can either send out or receive in totality. And that's what makes it so interesting for Amachow, Dark Chow, and the Weight and Slime. All of those you will see like a portal ring above your head, but you won't know what's going to come out of it. So you either have to just risk it and wait to see if, a Dark Chow will come out or Amachow will come out if you didn't activate Amachow, or you have to just boost to make sure a Weight doesn't come down and crush you. Next is the Wisp Void. Void will suck in anything in its path, rings, items. It's a very good defense item in which you can kind of just inhale whatever's around you in your vicinity and prevent yourself from getting hurt or damaged. Next is Shield. I've referenced this a few times. When you have the shield item, you will basically be invincible for a brief amount of time. However, I realized if you use one of the gadgets that give you a shield at the start of a race, you will basically be invincible for the first half of that first lap, which is kind of insane. So yeah, this is a very powerful defensive item to have, and you want to use it when you have it, because, or at least time it correctly, because once again, the Dark Chow could come in and steal it from you if you just hold on to it, or if you get hit. If you get hit by an attack item, you will lose your rings and your items as well. Next is Tornado. Tornado will give you a spin attack that will automatically come out when you hit it and will hit people around you. Now, the Tornado actually stays out for a decent amount of time and can be also used as a defense against items being shot at you. So if you get a warning that an item is coming up towards you, you can use it to stop it. However, the monster truck will always win. Remember this. So the Tornado is a decent item, and I think it's perfectly, it does what it's supposed to do. It does the job well. Spiked Iron Ball is a spiked iron ball that you can launch in front or behind you, and it stays on the course, and people can run into it and, lose rings, spin out, what have you. And then last, we have the Magnet, which you throw it down and it will take opponents and drag them in and slow them down. So these last two are definitely more environmental type of items in which you want to use them at certain spots on a track to really trip people up, or launch forward to trip people up. These are the ones that I have the most difficult time actually launching correctly though. There's no targeting system, so you do have to be mindful when doing that. And with that said, that wraps up all of the items you can get from item boxes in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. I want to let you know right now that I am not a professional. I just play this game casually, make content. There are a ton of other videos and guides out there on how to utilize these items to win a match and to obliterate the competition. I just wanted to give you a general overview of everything, being a casual, so this is more as a casual guide. I do think the most powerful items would have to be the drill, the laser, the monster truck, the triple homing punch, King Boom Boo, and then also the shield. I think these are all very powerful to overpowered items that really can make or break a race. All the other ones are pretty much good. I don't think there's really a bad item. I don't like the weight. The weight is very obnoxious. I don't think it's overpowered, but getting a weight crushed on you is not the best feeling in the world. 10 out of 10, do not recommend. But I want to know your guys' thoughts and opinions on the items in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. Do you like them? Do you hate them? Do you want to compare it to Mario Kart or other kart racers? Do you think they're fair, balanced, overpowered? I would love to hear all your thoughts and comments down below. And if you have a ranking, let me see your list. I'm very curious to what people have to say. I have personally encountered multiple races in which I am in the top 3 or 4, and then once I get right to that end, that final push towards the finish line, tons of items just come blaring through, and I end up in like 6th, 7th, 8th, which can be frustrating, but I think that also kind of makes the game a little bit more silly and wacky and fun. There's just a lot of things going on, and it just proves that if you stay in first the entire time, you might actually get punished for it, but I don't know. I'm not an expert. Love to hear your guys' thoughts. I'm OCDsaster, and I hope you have a super Sonic rest of your day. See ya!